We got more bad speedrun ideas submitted by you guys. The next bad idea, this one is very funny to me. No boss percent. Glitch and skip every boss that you can and defeat Dracula and Shaft with 0 Vlad relics. No restrictions. Any means necessary. Well, sure. Let's go ahead and do that right here, right now, for the first time ever. All right, real quick, everybody. Let's just boot into the game real fast. Make sure that I'm speedrunning on the highest definition possible. Perfect. All right. Yeah. So this speedrun, I'm gonna be playing in luck mode. As it turns out, there's actually already a speedrun called Zero Bosses that exists. It's a category that I have the world record in. We're watching the world record right now. I think I got this world record so long ago. 6 years ago, 2017. Wow. I hate this. Well, you know, I already did the challenge. What's the point in doing the challenge all over again? I've thought about coming back to this speedrun and like improving the world record, but I've never really felt the need to, because this is one of the speedrun categories that exists for this game. End of sentence. This is just one of them that exists. There's 10 billion categories that exist for this game, and it's not fun. Like, there are certain speedruns that are more fun than others. I'm happy this speedrun exists. I think it's cool, conceptually, that you can beat the game whilst skipping all of the bosses. And we're going to be showcasing that right now. One thing that's important to note is we are starting in luck mode. And one of the fun things about luck mode is you can take off some of your clothes and get damage boosted. This specific type of damage boost is called a big toss. Here I'm doing an older... Oh my god, I got a monster vial drop. Let's go. If I knew about vial stacking back then, this would be crazy. Not that it actually matters. I just got it for funsies. Yeah, I'm playing with my hand off screen. I'm explaining the speedrun as I'm playing it because I'm playing this in real time. So this big toss happens when you take more than 50% of your health in a single hit. Because our HP is so low from luck mode, we can take damage from the warg, and it sends us flying, and it allows us to skip past death, so he never takes away our very powerful starting gear. There's normally the cutscene with Death where he's like, Alucard, join the dark side. I am your father. And Alucard's like, fuck you. And then the game begins. From here, I do remember the experience route is kind of interesting. So you're going to see me do a loop around this room, specifically just to gain some extra experience. Just like that. Yo! Gold Bludgeon, thank you for the sub. Appreciate you. Then I'm saving the game here. This would be an optimization if I did come back to this category to get a new world record. In future runs, I just wouldn't save there. The reason I save there is so that way if I mess up this trick, I have a chance to like redo it. But saving there costs time. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually using this red skeleton that is on this switch as a means of progression. So I don't think this was necessarily the intended way to handle this like switch puzzle thing. I don't know what the intended solution is for this switch puzzle, honestly. But essentially, this elevator that goes up and down is controlled by the switch, whether you're pressing it or not. But you can use the red skeleton's bodies to press it and hold the elevator for you. Now what I'm doing here is I'm doing a summon spirit, so that way the spirit hits this blue Axe Knight. I'm map buffering to get into the exact position that I need, such that when the axe armor is dying, I can walk forward, have the level up animation play, I can buffer a backdash. Once the backdash goes through, I now just have to wait for this red skeleton off screen to walk off the switch. That's going to lower the elevator. While the elevator is lowering, I can jump onto the elevator and then jump off it midair just enough to land on this platform. Meanwhile, the level up that I got earlier causes a reverse shift flying glitch, which essentially means you can skip an entire screen once you go through a screen transition. So it skips this screen. As you can see here, I load in from the right side, and then I load the next screen where there's the Bacillard and normally there's this wall blocking you. Instead of actually being blocked here, it loads me inside the load zone of the next room. Keep walking to the right, boom, skip that room. This also skips Fighting Slogger and Gaibon because this elevator I can ride all the way up to the top and it gets me past the point where Slogger and Gaibon normally are. And that's boss skip number 1. From here, there's not like a ton of interesting stuff that happens. I'm doing more experience route stuff. Like I'm killing specific numbers of enemies, specific types of enemies. I think I'll showcase it here in a second. Yeah, this room, for example, I kill these enemies, and then I turn back around to kill more enemies so that I'm at the exact experience number because I need to be 1 skeleton kill away from a level up. So I don't kill that skeleton, I'm saving him for later. Once I kill this first Diplo, I'm at the perfect experience amount where the next thing I kill, no matter what, will give me a level up. So, of course, that means I have to skip past these enemies, dodge them by, like, jumping on their backs. You can jump on the Diplo's backs, by the way. Here, I'm using the Summon Spirit for the invincibility to get past these guys, but I also have to leave the screen fast enough. Otherwise, the Summon Spirit can sit there and actually kill them, and then I get the level up, and then the run's over. But we're not done yet. We're still going to be taking advantage of the fact that we're in luck mode. We take off all of our gear, essentially, get hit by an axe. It does just enough damage. It literally does 14 damage. We're left with 13 health left. It does the bare minimum amount to give us a big toss. So we can get up here and grab this garnet. The garnet is going to be useful later. Here, I re-equip everything and equip my heart refresh. This heart refresh is going to come into play in just a second as well. So now, from here, after we grab the garnet, we have to backtrack through this entire area. I'm jumping over some enemies. And like I said, this skeleton that we left alive here is important. Here, I'm doing a setup to find a pixel-perfect position. I'm using a dagger that I just threw to kill the skeleton on a very specific frame, the frame before I get a level up. I then backdash right before getting a level up, and then I buffer my heart refresh after that. This is causing a glitch called a shift line. It's kind of similar to the reverse shift line that we did earlier, the other level up glitch. This one, instead of warping us through a room, actually opens up a tiny pixel on the edge of the screen that we can fall through. So Alucard's going to fall through the edge of the screen, but first I have to equip a potion so that way I can get some invincibility. Get some invincibility, fall through the edge of the screen. It warps me back into this like default state. This is like something that happens in a lot of games where if you fall out of bounds, they warp you into a specific spot to kind of like make sure you don't fall out of bounds. But we can take advantage of this by holding right while we're in like this weird floor situation. It's going to flash the screen a couple of times. Sorry about that. That's just how the game is. Let me skip past the flashing screens. Until it eventually... Hello? Pushes you far enough in that you eventually land in this room that requires that you press the switch. Here, I'll show you real quick. So this is the room that we did the glitch in, right? And we warped here, which pushed us down here. But the way you get down here normally is you have to go through this blue door right here and press this switch. But that requires us to go out of our way to grab the Jewel of Open, all that fun stuff. So instead, by doing the shift line glitch, it pushes us through this transition here, warps us back to this like safe spot right here, but through the floor. We hold right until it pushes us just far enough in that we land down here. We go down here, grab this item right here, which is actually a library card. And with the library card, well, we do what we do. We warp to the library. And this skips past specifically, hold, right here. This library card gets us all the way right here, which skips past this boss arena with Doppelganger. And that's how you skip past Doppelganger. The potion was for invincibility because normally there is a skeleton right here that when you go out of bounds, it warps you into the spot where the skeleton is, so you need to be invincible or else you land on top of the skeleton. Here, I'll showcase it in the video real quick. Right there. So if I wasn't invincible during this section, I would be inside the skeleton and the skeleton would just hit me back inbounds. And I wouldn't be able to go through this screen transition and then eventually into the library. And this is just the first, like, part of the run. Those are the first 2 bosses that have been skipped. Here's a fun one. So, important thing that we need to do for this run is we need to do Shop Glitch, but Shop Glitch requires that we get the fairy card. The fairy card is not the easiest thing to grab when we have 0 relics, essentially. We don't have any relics outside of Cube of Zoe. So, yet again, we're going to be taking advantage of another big toss. This guy is kind of a jerk, but if you line it up just right, where he's at the edge of the screen, I need to be like as close to him as possible without actually taking damage. Right here, he's literally kneeing me in the face. I have to jump while he has the sword wound back, and it lines up perfectly where the sword hits me while I'm in the air, but it sends me to the left, just at the perfect height to land right onto this ledge. Incredibly tight spacing. The setup there barely works, but it works just enough so that way we can get the fairy card. And now that we have the fairy card, we make it back to the librarian. We also only have 5 HP left, by the way, so very tight on HP. We wait for the fairy to talk to us. This allows us to go into the room. We skip the cutscene where the librarian is like, "Oh, Alucard, it's been such a long time. I won't betray the master." And then Alucard's like, "But what if I give you money?" And then the librarian's like, "Oh, fuck the master. Give me your money." And this is where we do a little bit of a scam, where what I do is I show the librarian my garnet. I say, "Hey, librarian, what if I sell you a garnet?" I put it on the table. As you can see here, my garnet is on the table. And then, right before I sell it to him, I do a little switcheroo. I put it in my back pocket, and then he buys it. And by him buying a garnet that doesn't exist, it tricks the game into giving me E5 number of garnets. So now we have E5 to sell. This is the equivalent of me getting shilling my garnet coin scam, yes.
I'm interested in.
See, what you don't understand, garnet coin is a decentralized currency. And this is Shop Glitch. I think people have seen it in a lot of different other types of speedruns. I do it so that way I can buy Duplicator, Gauntlet, Library Card, Mana Prisms, an Elixir, Fire Boomerangs.
Farewell for now.
And I think that's everything. Anyways, now that we have all of this stuff, there's not really much else to do except we need to get Form of Mist, but that's usually locked by Minotaur and Werewolf. We need to get Soul of Bat, but that's normally locked by Lesser Demon. And we need to get to the end of the game from there. That's how any percent would normally do it. So we are going to do yet another round of backtracking. All the way through the Marble Gallery. All the way back to the Clock Room. And we use the classic, transform into the wolf, jump up here. Use the wolf transformation to get up here. And yeah, that's the clock rush of this version. From here, we go to the Colosseum, where the next major glitch is going to be happening. I can't believe I missed that jump. I'm so bad. 7 years ago, I missed that jump, and I'm still mad about it to this day. Anyways, from here, I specifically have to kill this skeleton guard that's sitting in the way, because this guy will get in the way, and also it does set up my experience as well. So I'm using the neutron bomb to kill this guy. The neutron bomb will be important for later. I'm doing a pixel perfect setup. I use the neutron bomb to weaken this guy because he dies in 2 neutron bomb hits. I do 2 full back dashes. I wait for him to walk on screen. I walk to the left, and I'm going to start map buffering to wait for him to change his animation. He changed his animation. This gives me a visual cue Oops, I'm getting ahead of myself. So once he changes his animation, it gives me the visual cue to jump. And by noting where he is on the screen, I know what inputs I need to press next. So I hold the jump button, and I wait for his animation to change again. I'm 1 frame away, and my hands are shaking because I'm on really good pace. And I need to literally, I have 1 frame to map buffer, so I have to undo the map and then repress the map within 1 frame. Once he changes animations here, I now know which inputs I need to hold. I need to hold right and then the neutron bomb inputs. By doing so, I'm going to have the neutron bomb kill the enemy, but at the same time, he's going to be hitting me, causing me to go into the big toss animation. And similar to earlier when we created the shift line here, by leveling up with a backdash and doing the heart refresh, we're also going to be opening up a shift line over here. This does the same thing, but it does it with a singular a singular screen freeze instead of 2 screen freezes back to back. So that 1 screen freeze is enough to push the screen over to get us through the floor. And once we're in the floor, again, it loads us back into this like safe area once we hit the out of bounds location. I'm holding right. I'm also invincible with a potion. And also, once I'm in this spot, I transform into Wolf so that way it zips me down through the floor. And now that I'm here, I can grab the form of Mist. And all of that is so that way I can skip fighting Minotaur and Werewolf. So that's Minotaur and Werewolf done. Not fought. So far, no bosses have been fought. From here, I go all the way to this warp room with a really big toss. All the way over to grab this warp back to castle entrance. And this is where the run gets a little bit silly. We need to acquire Skill of Wolf and Power of Wolf for the next boss skip. So I'm going to go towards Skill of Wolf, which is over here in the alchemy lab. But I don't have the means to gain height. Like, I can't fly right now. I don't have gravity jump. I don't have bat. So I need to find another way to gain height. So I'm going to equip 2 fire boomerangs. I'm going to throw all my fire boomerangs. And if I time a jump into a transform, while all the fire boomerangs are on screen, Alucard is going to turn red because the game is trying to transform me during this section. However, the sprites are overloaded, I think, by these fire boomerangs. So it's waiting for the fire boomerangs to get off screen before it allows me to transform. The fire boomerangs are now off screen because I went through a screen transition. And meanwhile, the entire time that the fire boomerangs are on screen and I'm in this red, weird state, the game will do... it'll essentially apply whatever momentum I currently have in the entire time whilst it waits for the fire boomerangs to get off screen. So if I jump right before I try and transform and turn red, the game will continuously have me in the jumping state whilst gaining height until the fire boomerangs leave the screen. This is called a fire boomerang jump, and then I get the rest of the height by transforming into Mist to get the ever so much extra bit of height. Here I attempt, I'm trying to delay the item grab animation because not only does the fire boomerangs overwrite the transformation animation, they can also overwrite the get item animation. See how normally when you would grab a relic, immediately the screen would freeze? The screen freeze got delayed because I had the fire boomerangs on screen. And if you do it well enough, you can leave the screen and completely skip the animation altogether. And that's not the first, or that's not the only time you're going to be seeing a fire boomerang jump, because immediately afterwards, I then go back to the castle entrance and set up for yet another one. Unfortunately, these guys are in my way, though. This is where most of the time save would be in a new, if I did this route and tried to get a new world record. So this fire boomerang gets us most of the way up, and then comes the really dumb part of the run, which is this Mist Wolf spam is the only way to gain the extra bit of height here. I have to transform into Mist and then transform into Wolf. And every time I do that, I gain a tiny bit of height. And I have to do that over and over and over again. But if I mistime it, I lose a giant chunk of magic. So I have to be very, very careful. And if I lose that magic, I have to like stall in the air by transforming into Wolf over and over and over again whilst using a mana prism. So it's a little bit slow. So I lost probably like 20 seconds on this section just from not getting a perfect mist rise. But it's really, really hard. Like, each one of these is, like, close to frame perfect without losing magic. But eventually, I get up here, I grab the Power of Wolf, and now we're ready for the next major boss skip. Because the reason why this challenge is so difficult in the first place is because we don't have Soul of Bat. Because Soul of Bat is locked behind the Lesser Demon boss fight. But now that we have all these powerful movement options, we can just say, screw it. We don't need to fight Lesser Demon. I'm going to save the game in case things go horribly, horribly wrong, because they can. So here I'm doing a little bit of Mist Rising, Mist Wolf Rising again. I'm lining up my position, transforming into Wolf, going as fast as I can. I'm trying to jump and untransform against this slope such that I clip through that slope. That's the goal of this trick. It's very tough to do. It requires very precise inputs. I get it second try, which is pretty good. And by clipping through the floor here, you have to then hold left and then transform into Mist, such that you land outside of the Lesser Demon boss trigger, because if I landed closer to this part of the room, the boss is right off screen. Like, the boss is loaded in right now. However, the doors don't close behind you unless you activate the boss AI, and I'm far enough away that the boss AI never loads in, allowing me to skip past Lesser Demon and not have to fight him altogether. Yo! Crockett Vibes.
What's shaken?
We're in the middle of a world record speedrun. Thank you for the tier 3 sub. I appreciate it. And all of this is so that way we can get the Soul of Bat without killing any bosses. The rest of the run here is honestly very familiar if you've ever seen an any percent speedrun. Because I mostly just follow the any percent route from here on out. There's only a handful of new things that happen. I'm just going to utilize my wolf movement to go fast, as well as wing smashes, like right here. I think I'm going to wing smash from here. No, I'm going to use more wolf movement. I'm pretty sure the wolf movement's slower. That's one thing I would change in the future. It's probably faster to wing smash through that section. Sorry for the interruption. Oh, no worries. I think we're still on world record pace. So yeah, we're going to be going through the clock tower with some tight wing smashing. Some more wing smashes to get through the clock tower, because now it's just, there's nothing really stopping us from going to the end of the game. There are some powerful glitches we can use to get to the end of the game. But unfortunately, we do have the Kurasamon boss in the way, and darn it, we've entered the boss fight. The only way to escape is to either library card, or maybe, if we're nice, Kurasamon will just let us leave. Oh, wow. How nice of you. Thank you, Kurasamon, for letting me leave the game. So what's happening here is called Half-Blood Tech. I don't know why it's called that. It's I think, the name was originally came up with by somebody who doesn't speak English as their primary language. So it doesn't 100% make sense to me, but, you know. Long story short, if you go into the big toss animation, which is what's happening right here, while you're against a wall, while in bat form, it'll transform you into human form once you get hit, but it'll big toss you. But by doing so, it like clips you through the floor? I don't know why. It just does. But that's enough for us to get past the boss fight with Kurasamon and make it to the other side. While we're here, might as well grab the Leap Stone, because it is a really great relic to have. It allows you to double jump, dive kick, do some fast movement options. It's great. Thanks, Kurasamon. What a nice guy. Now, from here, we just gotta, you know, do the classic Richter skip. And no Richter boss fight either. Easy peasy. Now we're in the second castle. Things look pretty similar to like a normal speedrun. We're just going to be wing smashing through the second castle, going fast. Getting to this point in the second castle, where yet again, I'm sorry. I'm just going to ask you a question because you asked me a question, and I think it's important to point out. Does that invalidate the category since the boss was activated? So right now we're watching the world record speedrun. And this is being pulled from speedrun.com leaderboard. 0 bosses world record. So, do you think that that invalidated the category then? If I pulled this video from the world record video, from the leaderboard, from the world record? Anyways, remember that Karasamon skip we did a second ago? Yes. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I am just cheating, so it makes sense. This took me a while to set up because I was nervous, but essentially what you need to do is you got to let Medusa's thick booty push you into the wall such that it clips you out of bounds, similar to the Karasamon skip, and we make it through. And that's pretty much the last major boss skip, except it's not, because we're grabbing an extra heart refresh. Now, I wonder what this extra heart refresh could be for. Oh, I know. It's because we used our heart refresh at the beginning of the run, remember? And that was before we had the duplicator. So now we have a heart refresh. This will allow us to do relic skip. And we just go the long way around to do relic skip. We go through Akmadon's area. But here we are, doing relic skip. It's basically the same relic skip that you would see in any other speedrun. We're setting up a reverse shift line, similar to the glitch that allowed us to skip Slugger and Gaibon. But instead of skipping us past an obstacle, it skips us past the save room right here. Oops. Come on. So this save room, you could see a little bit of the fairy and the Alucard are over on the right side. This is loading me out of bounds into the ceiling of this room above where the Guardians are. You could see the Alucard is up here. I'm doing some wing smashes out of bounds, but for whatever reason, out of bounds wing smashes sometimes will give you this like really slow momentum. I have just enough juice to make it into this room. And then we're grabbing a second heart refresh. Now, I know the person who asked me about this challenge said specifically, skip every boss and defeat Dracula and Shaft right here. But what if I did you one better? What if actually I don't have to fight Shaft either? So, what I'm doing here is the very last boss skip of the run. I am getting some momentum using a front slide, essentially by dive kicking into the ground and then releasing forward by the time you land on the ground. You slide across the ground very, very fast. It's the fastest form of ground movement that you have access to. And by doing that and then using both heart refreshes that I have, one on each hand, back to back, over and over and over again, what I'm doing is I'm actually pushing Alucard forward whilst the screen stays still. So the camera is locked in place, but Alucard is going to be slowly moving off center. And by doing this over and over and over again, eventually I desync the camera such that I eventually pop out on the other side of the wall here. I don't know exactly why this works. My guess is that the game is trying to keep track of where Alucard is supposed to be. But then the camera warps back into place because the camera is like off center. It warps the camera where it's supposed to be, and then it keeps track of Alucard's position the next frame. But because it pushed Alucard over whilst the screen was moving, it pushes me out of bounds. Something like that. I don't know. This game is silly. Long story short, this is how you get out of bounds. And luckily for us, right here off screen, for whatever reason, is the load zone that takes you to the boss fight with Dracula. Never have to see Shaft or his silly balls. Instead, the only boss that has defeated the entirety of the run is the final Dracula at the end. And I guess technically this Dracula too. This Dracula did kind of die, but it was in a flashback in a prologue, so it doesn't like 100% count. But yeah, and then we kill this guy too. In record time. Wow, world record, guys. We did it. We beat the game without killing any bosses. What a terrible, awful speedrun idea. Thank you, Joe, for your suggestion. And subscribe and join the live stream, twitch.tv/DragonBlitz, and subscribe for more world record speedruns.
Already a hard lot.